All right, welcome to the Vicky 3 Academy. I'm Walker. Here we are on We Play Games, and this is going to be sort of a follow-up video to the SOL, but don't think that that means that I'm not willing to do an advanced one on that. This is sort of like a side project on that, right? This is SOL 1.5. This specifically is migration. So I could have done this as a migration controls video. I don't know. I'm not even sure if I need to make that one. That law is pretty easy and doesn't need hemming and hawing around it. But the concept of migration itself, I think, does absolutely require a little bit of conversation in regards to it. So, how does migration work? You can find the text file that tells you all the defines, but there's a very good Wikipedia article in the Wiki about migration that I'll link to, and it breaks down a lot of what I'm going to show you here. And so if you're curious about the specific modifiers that are being worked here, then I just check that link out. The information there is very, very good. But I just want to do a demonstration here in as a UK. So right now our attraction, it's currently 2.7 due to standard of living, trade center and home counties. So if there is a trade center located in the province in question, which in this case, because it's the capital state, yes, there's going to be that, that it's going to have an extra attraction modifier. It also is going to have a little bonus from being the market capital, but then you see there the state unemployment. So the more unemployment you have in the state, the lower your migration attraction is going to be. And so if you're trying to encourage a lot of migration to a specific state, First, from like a broad perspective, if you're trying to encourage a lot of migration to your country, yes, you do want to make sure that your standard of living is a little higher. But more important than that, if you want to encourage people to simply be migrating to your country, then you want to make sure that you have like a fairly liberal government type and fairly liberal laws. More importantly, the less discriminated against the pops are, the more likely they are to want to move to you. And so that's something that you're not necessarily going to see right down here, but you absolutely will feel. So I'm going to do fast and act. I'm just going to do some stuff to just like show you guys really quickly what it would look like if you did some of this stuff. So that way you know how migration is going to work. So we will crank this up. We have our high attraction over here, and now it's actually like factoring in. But you can see right away that one of the things that's going to really have an outsized impact on whether or not you have migration is whether or not you have happy intelligentsia. If you have happy intelligentsia, that can make a huge difference. If you have happy and strong intelligentsia, then that can help you win wars in a sense, because it's just going to give you a gigantic bonus to your migration attraction, and that gigantic bonus, it's going to be all over your country. So that's one thing that you can do to dramatically increase your migration attraction, is just make your intelligentsia happier. It's also increase your multiculturalism, to have more liberal laws on freedom of conscience and state religion. But I think in terms of maximizing your ability to really, really, really juice migration, you want to focus on state SOL. So if we wanted to make home counties like just the migration capital of the universe, you would want first to make sure that you have a good string of infrastructure coming in. So always make sure that you're not neglecting your infrastructure if you're relying on migration to grow your economy. So I've got fast build on and fast hire and stuff. So I'm just adding stuff to the economy here, just to show you how that will help. That'll help us grow our economy. Grow our economy through migration. And we could, yeah, whatever. We're right now. I'm just adding high productive states or buildings. The reason being that by adding high productive buildings, we're going to increase the local standard of living by quite a lot. Yeah, they will eat their opium and they will like it. So right now, campaign financing, sure, whatever. Unfortunately, I can't hold like everything still locally, but we can work with this. So right now we are at 16.1. We can add some of those and some of those. Now we're at 16.4, and it's because of the way that this stuff is being calculated, that because we're increasing their wealth, the wealth of the of the lower strata people by giving them these highly productive jobs, these jobs in furniture manufacturing instead of in agriculture, especially instead of in subsistence farms. That's going to increase. You know what? I'm not here to play. I'm not here to play the game. I'm here to see. All right, wait. We can do this in observer mode now. We can just watch as the AI probably experiences a ridiculous amount of migration here. Yeah, they're gonna start experiencing some serious migration locally because they're gonna have plenty of infrastructure. Yep, they're gonna have plenty of SOL because they have built it up locally, and then they're gonna start draining it from everywhere else in the empire, in the trade network. Which is why adding things, if you're gonna be adding like other countries to your market, migration can be a very powerful way to utilize puppets. You should probably aim to annex most of them eventually, but like some of them, like the EIC, are just like, if you annex them, you have to pay through the nose. It's usually worth it to leave them outside of your direct governance for a little while, at least until you start building up your own internal economy to the point where you can handle the massive costs associated with running there. Let's check in. How are we doing? Yeah, we're doing. So that's sort of like what you need to do if you want to increase your migration attraction. You're also, by doing this, you're going to make it to, it's possible where you'll end up with mass migrations targeting you. Mass migrations are even better than regular migrations because they can go cross market. I'm sure you guys have seen that little notifier like, oh, all of the South Germans are moving to a state that you don't care about, and then you've right clicked on that thing. But when you experience a mass migration onto you, depending on the size of the culture that's moving, it can be a big deal. Like if you can get a mass migration of Han Chinese, or of like literally anyone in India, then you can get enormous amounts of population in your country pretty quickly. And that's one of the reasons that multiculturalism is pretty strong. All right, I think that's a 7.5 minute on migration. I don't think that there's too much else that needs to be said about it. I guess the laws, I could tell you that the laws are a little nonsense because they are a little nonsense. Because if you have migration controls, you know how you can get around that by just having multiculturalism and total separation. And then there's no migration controls. I guess if you wanted to do a religious migration, you could do that. Absolutely, right? You could have migration controls and multiculturalism, and then have freedom of conscience, and then you would not let in people who are outside of your religious group. That would be the barrier, and maybe that's what you want to go for. I don't know. That's kind of up to you. I think generally speaking, more migration is always better. All right, that's Walker. Take care.